Take exit 3.
Is going to be about sci-fi. And topic
In 1,000 feet, merge onto Van Wyck Expressway.
applying to the book that I wrote, sci-fi book that gets published. I wrote it in the years of 2003, 2005.
Continue on I-678 north for 8 miles.
Tucked it away somewhere and don't really look at it much, but I got to think of a new sci-fi movie script and calling the book The Truth is Stranger Than Fiction. And aside from what happens in the book that I wrote, that has to do with like aliens and stuff, the premise takes place in an not too distant future where instead of having a cell phone one day, the movie starts that you return to the studio and they see an advertisement and it says, how would you like to be able to be at work and make a phone call and not have your employer know this is your cell phone? And then it segues into this little chip that's glowing. It's blinking. And then the next segment of the commercial goes, well, how would you like to be able to communicate with someone who has exclusive rights and access to your thoughts, emotions, and dreams, and who you can communicate at any point in time, no matter how far away they are, in a virtual reality that simply involves closing your eyes and having your lenses see the person as if you're really there in the virtual reality and actually be able to feel and see what they're experiencing because the implant in their brain is also monitoring what they're feeling and experiencing, and in a way it would be as if you were talking to yourself but almost telepathically, but like on a phone, but not really, but really. And so in the not too distant future, these products become widespread, very popular, and now people are able to be at work and be on their phone talking to somebody and it be completely an anonymous or private connection with that individual without having any phone service or anything. It's just implant to implant, and it would completely rewire the wireless cell phone industry and the internet as we know it. And then subtly, little by little, people will begin to start experiencing what other people are feeling, and it will wait for humanity to become a little bit closer together, and also be controlled the day they step out of line by the extraterrestrials who now have infiltrated artificial intelligence to the point where it has manifested itself inside these implants inside people's brains to turn them into actually controlled human beings without them even realizing it. And so the future is not too far away from that, since we turn on TV and watch TV and listen to what people bullshit us and tell us about without fact-checking it ourselves, let alone questioning the reason why certain news is being reported and other news isn't. Aside from the fact that the clear line that the separation between church and state has been crossed, and that freedom of speech as we know it has been encumbered by the privatization of the media and news outlets. Despite the freedom of press, there remains very few publicly funded broadcast stations. And I rely exclusively on the BBC and CNN for my information. Almost exclusively because they're probably the most reliable news network out there. But the PBS, Public Broadcasting Station, and NPR are just two examples of, like the greater good doing something really good. But technology is intended for use for the greater good. When put into the wrong hands, can wreak havoc upon humanity. I think that's what the biggest fear about AI is. Is that in worst case scenario that people have the Google glasses that are connected to implants inside them, and lo and behold, the computer says, well, maybe if we give this person an electric shock every time they do this, or maybe if we, put the color purple, and give them like a slight vibration or a slight aroma, for them to smell, it'll change their behavior. And God forbid that type of technology where you can actually literally monitor and feel someone else's emotions and communicate with them telepathically through use of wireless and Wi-Fi technology, would be extraordinary, but it would be also extraordinarily dangerous. And anyway, I hope you enjoyed podcast. We will segue to episode number 2, section 45 of the extraterrestrial area 51 connection, Alamo laboratory, Skinwalker Ranch, Hudson Valley, both sides, number of other topics related to alien and extraterrestrial. This one being what's been quite commonly reported are the highway abductions and lost time scenarios, simulations where reality is simulated, caused, and reflected back at you in the mirror effect somehow trick you, just like a fish would swimming into the bait of a fish's mouth, trick you into thinking that what you're experiencing is reality. Aside from extraterrestrials informing people that this is just a dream and that they should forget about it, never happened, and doing different types of things to cause amnesia and sleep paralysis type of sensations, so as to make the subject not to be traumatized, scared, and just fall asleep and not telling anybody about it. Just think they're telling them that they had a bad dream. I've experienced situations which I will draw a piece of paper. And so have other people, particularly highway abductions, where there's an instance where someone is driving down the road and then suddenly they'll see an exit. For example, I was driving out to Buffalo once, and there was a sign. It's at New Amsterdam. 5 hours to Buffalo, keep driving. 5 hours later, yeah, same sign again. Yeah, they went the wrong direction. Hold on. Yeah, I'm going right ahead. 3 times throughout the day, not realizing that time seemed to have gone by really slowly, and yet the day was really, really long. And for some reason, I figured, well, maybe I did go the wrong way. Maybe there's 2 New Amsterdams. So 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I decided at 8 o'clock in the morning. And this time, just a different New Amsterdam rest area or something like that. Always have rest areas, pull up to the gas, go inside, food, stuff like that. So I get out the car, park the car, walk inside. People are walking in and out of this place, and it's very distinct. And no matter what I seem to do, people don't seem to walk out of my way or notice that I'm walking in there. However, they all seem to kind of walked off to the side. One individual who's standing there, this older man, but he seems extremely tall. He's over 7 feet tall. Gray-haired, very wrinkly, tall, gigantic white guy. And he was looking at me. And he wasn't moving, and he was completely still, as a silhouette, except for his eyes were dead contact me. And he's the only person out of like hundreds of people coming in and out of this busy rest area in what looked like New Amsterdam. And I thought that was very odd, so I got back in my car and I drove away. And 5 hours later, same sign. Well, this time it was 4 or 5 hours later, and I figured I'd pulled over and early enough to be 2, 3 o'clock. 7 o'clock. Still light out. Going there, use the restroom as usual. Back in my car. Notice nobody really quite in the place as much than people. Some people still walk around, but there was that guy standing there, and he wasn't moving. And I thought to myself, well, that's kind of strange. Maybe, I don't know what to think. And suddenly, it occurred to me that I was now behind the wheel of my car, driving down the road. But 2 days had gone by. And I saw that sign and I thought, geez, man, I just want to go home now. And so that's what I did. I turned around and drove home. And I felt I just had spent one really, really long day driving and felt like going home and turned around, but that's not what happened. I suspect, and that's what other people have reported, is that a spaceship sucked my entire vehicle and just kept putting it back onto the highway so as to protect me from an accident. Or to give me a message like, why are you going to Buffalo, Wally? Maybe you should just go back home. And it was weird because the 5 hours driving was like the most bizarre each 5-hour clip of driving towards the restaurant was like you're driving down the road and sometimes if you're not listening to the music, you start thinking, your mind starts wandering. Start to think, you might even talk to yourself a little bit, and think out loud or something. I felt like my whole life was playing out in a movie while I was driving. And it was crazy. So other people were driving, all of a sudden they use the lights in the car, don't work, radio, signals and stuff like that. I highly suspect that nothing in my vehicle was working whatsoever. Several vehicles moved from that highway, taken onto a spaceship and just put right down.